The greatest chess players in history of all time. And this is a new series on GM Talks, and we're gonna see number 6 today, and it is the Indian Tiger, Vishy Anand, world champion from 2007 to 2013, and probably one of the most influential players in the history of the game, since he kind of brought back India. It originates from India, and now it's going back to India with all the great Indian talents coming, and they would not have come if it wasn't for Vishy Anand. Apart from that, he has won 3 world championship matches and actually lost 4. But he is still very, very strong at the top. He will turn 53 later this year. He's only 52 now, but still in the world top, which is kind of amazing. So he is my number 6. I have seen lists where they don't have Anand on the list, and I was just like, what are you thinking about? Are you crazy? How can you not have Anand? I was thinking a little bit about putting him in a little bit higher, but I will keep number 1 to 5 and 7 to 10 secret until now. By the way, I have some memories of Anand. We have had a few videos here where I have talked a little bit about meeting Anand, and I once had lunch with Anand after we played in the Bundesliga. I played for Hamburg, he played for Baden-Baden, and Peter Heine was also there, and it was kind of fun. He was very interested. I was a poker player at the time. He was very interested in that. Thought it was fascinating, and he's of course a very bright guy. I also remember once I played in the Olympiad, and we were playing against a team, I don't know, not a very strong team, and he came and say hi to me, and there was this 2200 guy was sitting there. What? My opponent knows Anand. Jesus. Anyway, I haven't spoken for him for many years, but I hope to say hi in the upcoming Olympiad in Chennai, which is where he originates from. We're gonna see a game. He just started the tournament in Norway chess with 2 out of 2, winning both games without having to have any kind of playoffs. So very, very impressive, and his style is amazing. He is what Carsten Müller and Lars Bo Hansens would call activist. He combines tactical vision and concrete analysis with intuition. Not so much logic, but of course there's always logic somewhere in there. And he's of course very fast thinking. But one time Peter Heine explained that the important thing with Anand was that he believed in his intuition, so he was training his intuition to be strong in different situations. But apart from that, he's just very, very good. And he's also, by the way, I'm just going to show you a game he lost because he's one of the top players who has a very unique thing he does. And that is he takes up on trends during the tournament. He's very, very good on jumping on a trend, sensing that this new opening idea has some potential or is very interesting, and then he just jumps on it. But sometimes a little too fast, and once he lost a game like this, I just have to show it. He played like this, and he was black, and this is and he played the Petrov. And at that time, there has just been a very quick draw that after knight c3, black played this move. So Anand copied that, and his opponent, I don't remember who it was, he played queen e2 instead of taking on e4, d3 or something. And Anand had to resign because he's simply losing a piece. The problem is that if he plays something like this, then just d3 and the pin here wins. And if he plays this move, that would be normal against queen e2, then knight d5 is a serious problem. And after going back, d3 again wins a piece. So Anand had to resign after 6 moves. Anyway, this was not going to show. I'm going to show you a better display of Anand's strength. He's white against Maxim, one of the these times leading players, and it just shows his class that he can still play with a guy like Maxim that's from this golden year 1990, along with Andreikin and of course Nepomniachtchi and Carlsen and so on. Let's get into it. Lagrave would always love to play the knight off, and but Anand is picking up on a trend that bishop b5 is maybe not so bad, and is scoring pretty well for white. And the thing is, Vishy has also begun to play this again, and some of the German very theoretical guys have also played this, which makes Anand look into it, and he finds some ideas, and then he starts playing it. So he doesn't have like a repertoire that I will always play the knight over or something. He will play whatever suits him, and of course he can play everything. He's looked at everything. Another funny story from the Bundesliga is he played against Wojciech, the Polish player, and it was a draw. And Anand was very impressed with the play by Wojciech, so he later asked him to be his second. Another thing with Anand, this is sort of a Marosi with c5. By the way, I remember they didn't play knight c6 earlier. They played something with g6 and d5, and did pretty well with that. But it seems they've started to play knight c6 again. I don't know really why, because it seems like this position, I believe white is a little bit better here, and he definitely scores better. He has more space. It's the usual 6 versus 3, and we have this one is where the fight will take place, and that's. But of course, black is having a healthy, sound position. All this is normal. Here, the main moves are a rook to c8, one of the rooks. But still, white seems to do pretty well. If he can exchange this one for this one, then the more space will begin to count. And of course, black's idea is something with this, but that's also weakening. And sometimes white will be able to play e5. Sometimes he can open the center, taking everything, or sometimes he can take the e pawn and play c5. That is like this, right? So many options here. A6 is of course also an idea in this position, taking away the square and playing with some sort of minority attack, creating a majority in the center for black. Knight goes here, and this, my ladies and gentlemen, is a novelty. See, this was and of course Anand prepared this move, and the computer likes it immediately. And Anand, of course, always been very strong with computers, so this was maybe a novelty you should have checked out. Anyway, it's of course not moving the knight to b3. It's not something like, oh, I made a novelty, now you're dead. It's more like, okay, we have a game, and it's a little different. Usually in these positions, white will go for a setup like this, and here trying to keep the center stable, trying to exchange this one, and then hopefully get his majority into a kingside attack. That would be nice for white. But moving the knight, not bad move. This move makes sense. Black's idea is to go here, but it does weaken this pawn. And this is the big idea, getting the queen to e2. So this is a completely new plan. Not going to d2 to exchange the bishop, but going to e2, preserved pieces. And rook comes in, rook comes in, rook comes in, rook comes in, and knight goes back. So maybe not terrible, but on the other hand, white is fine in this situation. He's likely to be a little bit better, and even if he plays somewhat not precise, it's mostly a draw. So nothing really much to write about. Black goes here. If now black takes everything, then it's known that these Marosi structures is fine for black in some situations, but with only heavy pieces, it's actually clearly better for white in general, because this pawn becomes weaker. So black is depending on having this one, but then the black squares are weak. So b5, and that is actually a mistake. And it's typical for Maxim. He likes to play active. He's also an activist like Anand. He's much more like a mathematician than Anand. Anand has a sort of a classical strategic background, whereas Lagrave is more a computer player. So he is really into the new modern way of playing, where you go for activity and dynamic chess at all costs. C takes, and this is the big point, and take, and you could take this pawn here with the queen, but that's not very good. Black would get serious compensation after this, followed by this, and this is the kind of position where things can quickly turn bad for white, and of course will have none of that. Instead, he plays a very strong move, calmly. We need the black squares, we need to cover the rook, we need to put pressure on d6. So what do you do with white here? You simply play queen d2. Nice move. You can just feel, when you see the move, you can just feel it. And of course it's now threatening the pawn, and this is now a weak pawn, and this is a weak pawn, and black is still not really ready to launch a counterattack. So black decided to go here, and after this move, play this move, kicking the knight. The knight would love to go. If it goes here, it might be out of the game. And white does have some weak squares around the king and so on. So it's not completely clear that black will not get compensation. There's also some checks here, knight to e5 and so on. So going closer to the king side makes a lot of sense. Knight here. Again, black is striving to get some counterplay. There are things looming, like this move. There are, of course, at the moment he's threatening the rook. So white has to play here, and he found this move. Nice move, just making an Aljechin cannon in the d file and keeping black on his toes, because maybe black should find something else, because in this position he plays this move. Makes a lot of sense. Black is seriously fighting for the d file and hoping to make some penetration on the black squares. If you saw the previous video, you would know that that's something you would have to probably look out for is this, that will create a lot of tactical chances for black. There are some weak back rank stuff, and this knight here is a bit clumsy and so on. But he just managed to find a very nice move, e5. You cannot take because this is hanging, and so this is not possible, and it's sort of annoying. White would of course love to sort of do this and then something like this and get the knight here, and black will and keep the knight away from the king side. If white controls the d file and knight stays on the queen side, then there will be no kind of counter attack on the king side. Of course, Lagrave, he's very good at digging for counterplay everywhere. So here it comes, of course, and this is it's very typical. You cannot take because he takes back and so on. And this pin is a little bit annoying, and this one is hanging and so on. So what to do here? You have to find a very good move. And even at 52, I think, and it's when things are going well for Vishy and Anand, it just looks so easy. It's like it's just no effort at all. The lines are just coming from his hands like they're done. And this is one of the cases where it just sees a move like this, little bit of side pin, getting ready to hit the knight, and the knight cannot move because there is still enough pressure on d8. So what to do? He cannot even do something like this, because even there's no threat here, because the knight can always go between on this one. So white will just take the knight. So you have to take now, giving white a very nice pass pawn on d6 and threatening the knight. And so the knight still have to go. This pawn is really strong. Knight here coming. So what now? Of course, something like this would be a disaster. So what to play here? Not so easy. You can't move the king. The rook is actually very well placed. You don't want to give up the c file and so on. So, but you would like to hit the knight again. The problem is it goes here, and then maybe if you go f4 here, something like this, it will go here, and then it can go here, or the queen can go back, and there's going to be a check, and so on. So that's not what you want against Lagrave, of course. So what do you do here? Very simple prophylactic move, a3. Probably Lagrave thought that maybe I can take an f3, but there is no perpetual check. You just go, you take back and go to g1. So something like this, and well, not much here, and the d pawn and the rook is deciding the stuff. So instead he tries to find another way of counterplay. Rook b5, getting ready to go to this square. f4. Now there is no check here. No knight coming to g4. You could just take it, or queening, so that the attack is not that dangerous anyway. But maybe it is. Rook h5. I don't know. Could be a bit annoying. Anyway, so and something like this move is not helping. White goes here, and then this diagonal will be covered, and this will be a very nasty check. So he goes back, and it's white again. Black is threatening to go here. So what do you do here with white? And this is it's such a nice move. It's such a nice move. Oops. And here you see and I'm sure, again, as I'm sure Anand saw this more or less instantly. Of course, he's threatening the queen. The queen will have to go. If it goes somewhere here, then the same thing that could happen in the game will happen. If he takes here, then we see the point of white's combination is check to the king. Knight will have to go between, and here comes where this pawn plays a crucial role, because after this move be checkmate. Nice little stuff. So after this move, you have to take. Knight takes, and of course this d pawn cannot live. So rook here, knight here. Too bad. And white is up a pawn, and more problematic it's two passed pawns here. Black could get some counterplay, and I think maybe Vishy would not lose this position against an ordinary grandmaster like maybe yours truly or something. He might be able to draw or even win this, but against Anand there's no chance. He tries to muddy the waters. Anand plays really well here, kicking the knight again one more time. Knight does not have any good squares, because if it moves, white will threaten to get into a knight ending, and that's easily won, even for me. So check here. Problem again, knight cannot go. Goes here, rook d5, game over. So here, yes, keeping the knight in center, nice, but now the pawn can move, and of course white can try and attack something like this still, and we are ready to just push the pawn. And this knight that black so desperately tried to get into the game never ever came into the game. It's just a knight with a view at the moment, cannot move, and after this move black resigned. The problem here is that that this move is coming, and if you do something like this, you're not going to go back, you're just going to go here. And here, well, already you could take there, but you can also just play it forward. It's probably easy just to take it and win this way, and rook c5, and gonna be 2 pawns up, and it's just not fun anymore. So after rook c7, Vasily Graf said, okay, I had enough. I'm this is Anand. I'm gonna lose this game. In fact, I already lost the game. So he resigned in this situation. So my number 6 of the all-time greatest players in the history of chess is Vishy Anand.